People generally choose to remember whatever is to their benefit. If it is not to their benefit, they will selectively forget it. Did they actually forget it? No, it's always the back of their mind. Always. A lot of people chose to forget things with my situation and the situation with Natalie when it did not benefit them. Now, the difference between people selectively forgetting out here, where I have the ability to record it, and selectively forgetting in an institution like Lincoln Correctional Center, is that in all of these government facilities, they go out of their way not to have any audio recording at all. They go out of their way to make sure that there are places where the cameras that may be present, but probably are not, well, gives the people who work there plenty of places where they can hide and do things that are wrong. I was sent to many different places to punish me for speaking up about my predators and to prevent me from showing evidence of what my predators did out here, to prevent me from showing actual evidence. In there, they don't do anything all that different, with the exception of they know that you're not able to record them. The guards in the prison will outright come to your cell, stand in front of your cell, make fun of you. Hey, don't do that here. Sorry, I got a dog who's not doing something that he's supposed to. Um, a lot of people selectively chose to pretend things that did not exist that actually did. They wanted to, after doing something screwed up and lying to me and getting busted lying, they wanted to play victim. Where they screwed up is that I recorded them. I already recorded it. So if you want to change your story now, maybe you should have told the truth to begin with. Or maybe you're lying now. In either case, you should have been honest from the start. You shouldn't have been playing head games. You shouldn't have been playing both sides of the line. Nobody was actually after the truth in the situation with Natalie Bollinger. Nobody actually cared. And nobody to this day, with the exception of me, actually cares. I'm the only one who is fighting this battle. The only one. This isn't just Natalie's battle, and it's not just mine. But the thing is, with people selectively choosing what they want to remember, and me, in many of these places that I was at, unable to record it, I don't get to prove it. They get to decide what evidence is shown and what evidence isn't. Like when I was assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai, they had their body cameras. At the Boulder County Jail that night, there was at least 15 or more officers that were there, all laughing, making jokes, or talking about Natalie Bollinger and her death. That was most of their conversation. They also illegally prevented me from having Officer Waylon Lolatai's name. I had to get that from a guy called Colorado Donkey Watch. You can look up Colorado Donkey Watch on YouTube and you can find his channel. That one, this one typed, "Hey Sean." Hey, that one, this one, good to have you back. People keep on selectively ignoring crimes because it's not happening to them, but then when it happens to them, they want help. Many of the crimes that were committed against me my so-called friends just wanted to give me their pretty words. Oh, you just got to get over it. Now a lot of them are going through similar things to what I've gone through, and they're not able to just get over it. For them, moving on is not the option that they thought it was. Sean, I need help moving. I don't have a vehicle. I need a U-Haul. I need some people with good back to help me move this stuff. And I'm like, well, I can't. I can't physically lift that stuff for you. I can't go to the state of Colorado at all to help you. And that all comes down to the fact that those people didn't help me when I was going through it. When I was going through it, they wanted to, well, pretend like it wasn't happening. And now that it's happening to them, they want to selectively forget how they treated me when I was going through it. And the fact is, I am still going through it. Miss Peaches didn't like the fact that I recorded her and posted the truth on the internet. She had plenty of time to come forward and tell the truth. She had 2 years to come forward and tell the truth. By the time I recorded her, she had over a year to come forward and tell the truth before Natalie was even killed. Yes, I was trying to get help. Yes, I tried very hard to get help. But that's not what men get. Men don't get help, they get pretty words. And people want to selectively forget how they treat men whenever they want something from men. For me, it was, you got to do it on your own. For them, it's, hey, Sean, I need help. For many of the people that I helped out in my lifetime, they used their kids to try to get that help. My kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. A lot of those women, after getting them out of that abusive situation, come to find out they weren't even the ones being abused. One guy busted his wife doing cocaine, or sorry, not cocaine, methamphetamines. And he said, hey, I don't want you in my house. I don't want you around the kids if you're going to be doing meth. Now, she didn't tell me that part. I didn't find that out until I helped to move her out. Things like that do happen often. You never know when you try to help somebody out of a shitty situation, whether or not they're the ones that are making it a shitty situation. Now, in many of these situations, women told me that these men were doing horrible things to them, so I rescue them. Miss Jerry, for example. I helped her move out of Ron Reeder's house because he was supposed to be some sort of a super violent asshole. And then she went back to him not once but twice. Same thing with Andrew Buchter. So why is it that I helped Miss Jerry move 7 times when the situation that she sold me almost every time that she wanted to move ended up being a false narrative, ended up being a lie? What if I was one of these druggy psychos like Natalie was friends with? If I was one of those people, telling me things like that could have gotten Ronald Reeder killed, or it could have gotten Andrew Buchter killed. Now, luckily for these men, I'm not one of those people who goes out looking for violence. I'm not one of those people going out looking for an excuse to be a piece of shit to somebody. But at the same time, if I'm going to be victimized, yeah, I'm not going to be nice about it. I was nice about it for years and years, and nothing ever happened. Nobody heard me until I screamed at the top of my lungs, and then they treated me like a monster. I was literally screaming for help. People didn't want to help. I had the wrong gender to help. Our bias teaches us we don't help men. Everything is a man's fault. Everything is a man's fault. And we know that it's not true. But we still try to live up to this bias. We still try to believe the crap that we're sold. Like, it's never okay to hit a woman. No, it's never okay to assault somebody. It is always okay to defend yourself. If you're attacked by a 70 or 80-pound woman, she's probably not going to do much damage to you, and you can afford to just cover up. But if you got a 300-pound woman swinging her fists at you, that's a different story. I'm not 300 pounds. I couldn't take a hit from a 300-pound person very easily. Whether they're a man or a woman is arbitrary. That's a lot of force coming at you. And when it hits you, it's going to hit you hard. We say men are, on average, stronger than women. Well, that's average. There are a lot of women who are stronger than me. I'm not a bad person for saying that. And I'm not some sort of genetic defunk because I'm not 6 feet tall, good looking, and rich. I'm not some genetic cripple because I'm not huge or because I'm not violent. I don't consider defending yourself violence. I consider it necessity. If someone is trying to kill you, you are not being violent by defending yourself. You are being entirely defensive. You're not doing it out of hatred or malice. You're doing it because you want to live. You want to survive. You want to see tomorrow. You want to see your friends. You want to see your family. You want to see whatever it is that you want to see that's worth sticking around for. And that's important. People seem to forget things when it doesn't benefit them. Now, with all the recordings that I made, there's a lot of people who wanted to tell me, oh, I never said this or I never said that. I just sent them a link to the video I recorded of them. You never said this? Go to 11 minutes and 14 seconds in. There's also a lot of people that, well, I interacted with them out here and I recorded them out here so I can show the truth of the things that happened out here. But the things that they said to me at the jails are not recorded so they can say whatever they want. Most of these people, because the sheriff here in Chapel, Nebraska said something, it must be true. The thing is, the sheriff here in Chapel, Nebraska cannot diagnose me as schizophrenic. He cannot diagnose me as bipolar. He cannot diagnose me as delusional. But yet, he did. He overstepped his boundaries. He did things that are illegal and felonious, and he's still the sheriff of this town. Now, I got an email group that I got a hold of. And that email group is so that I can safely turn this stuff in to law enforcement agencies that have a history of victimizing me for trying to turn them in. Now, one of the ladies who's a part of that is a reporter, and she has not gotten back to me. One of the ladies is somebody who watches my channel, but she's been depressed, so she's not going to be helpful in any way for the time being. I don't hate her for it. I don't think she's a bad person for it, but I gotta find somebody else. There's also my autism advocate. There's some things that she had to say that aren't exactly as I remember them, but then again, we're different people. Thank goodness I record everything so that when I am right, I can show it. Now, my autism advocate, she's not one of those people who's trying to make it a battle every step of the way. At the very beginning, there was a lot of help that I needed, and she kept telling me about her personal problems, which made me afraid to ask her for help. At first, it's like, well, they don't have time, maybe they'll make the time, but eventually, when you've had enough people do that, you go, you know what, they're not going to help me. And my autism advocate is trying the best she can. The things that we were trying to do before I was arrested, she's not able to help me with those things anymore. She's got her own issues going on. but she's still trying to help. And of course, she did type a little bit in there about she said hundreds, but there's actually thousands of pieces of paper that are sent to that OneDrive, Google Drive, whatever it's called. And that's just from before I was arrested in January. I mean, there's so much there. Those thousands of screenshots were taken in like 1, maybe 2 day period overall. And there's a lot more to it than what we posted up. There's another friend of mine, and he was involved with some of the situation here and has been involved with the homeless in Boulder County, knows about the police, knows many of them by name. Problem is, he got into a motorcycle accident yesterday or the day before, and I don't know how long he's going to be out of commission. There's another guy who's a human rights activist in the state of Colorado named Evan, and Nebraska State Patrol keeps fucking around, fucking around, and fucking around. Pardon my French. I asked him for an email address so that I can contact the FBI and make sure that they are able to see this stuff too. So Evan was the one who pointed out that the email address they sent me is not an email address, and it's not an email address. They just keep doing stuff like this. You need to contact these people, you need to contact those people, and they give me numbers that don't work, or they go to places that say that it's not their job. No matter what, it's nobody's job. If you are a disabled American and you are on your own, it doesn't matter what the law says, you get ignored until someone is in your corner. Another thing is, people love that you're honest until you're honest about them. A lot of people had their chance to come forward and tell the truth. They chose not to. So I recorded conversations with them where they admitted that I was telling the truth, where they talked about the things that I had talked about and told you happened, and they talked about those things, and yes, obviously they did happen. But those people, after already being involved, wanted to tell me things like, oh, I just don't want to get involved. That's interesting, because whether you want to get involved now or not, you're already involved. Now let's put this in perspective using murder. Now, obviously, I haven't committed murder, and my friends, so far as I know, have not committed murder, or my supposed friends, I should say. But let's say that me and Sally, this is a made up name, of course, me and Sally witnessed a murder. Well, then we witnessed a murder, right? Now, whether or not Sally wants to come forward or not, she's already involved. If I go to the police, I could pretend that Sally wasn't there. But then again, that would get me in trouble. Meanwhile, what do we do about the family of this dead person? What if I'm friends with that dead person, or friends with their family? Now, Sally can say later on, well, you know, Sean, I just don't want to get involved. It doesn't matter if you want to get involved, you were already involved. Let's change the scenario a little bit. Let's say Sally's the one who pulled the trigger. Now I have to be afraid to say anything because Sally might pull the trigger on me. Of course, I'm a little different than most. I'd tell Sally straight up, you can either come forward and tell the truth, or I can. Just because nobody's going to listen to me with the intent of actually doing something. Many of them may have the idea of conceptually doing something, but when it comes to the follow through, you're probably not going to. Now, a lot of people want to selectively forget things that show how screwed up things they did. Now, they may selectively forget it, but they didn't actually forget it. They are selectively omitting it. Like with Natalie Bollinger, I did the things that she asked, but then she pretended that I was stalking her by using the things that she asked me to do and just omitting the fact that she asked me to do them. How screwed up is that? Now I gotta try to come up with some people who are actually willing to help, people who are actually willing to look through evidence, people who aren't afraid to give up their email address to be sent this information, and people who are actually going to look at it. Not somebody who's going to conceptually look at it and say, hey, Sean, if you send it to me, I'll take a look at it. And then 6 months down the road, you've been ignoring me for 6 months. Kind of like Rob Gavigan pretended like he was going to take a look at the evidence and he was going to speak with me about it. And he was going to, well, the first time that he made his show about Natalie, he slandered the shit out of my name, said a bunch of things that were not correct, and said them as if they were a fact. Meanwhile, Rob Gavigan is just recycling the same crap. See, these sites at the very beginning that were started, they made sure that I wasn't allowed to show my side. They made sure to call everything on my Facebook spam until I was put on a 30-day ban, and then another 30-day ban, and then another 30-day ban. And all of these sites, even to this day, they're recycling the same crap that was spouted by people like Mike Boudet, Sword and Scale, years ago. They are recycling the same crap, even though I have shown over and over and over again so much evidence. They pretend that it doesn't exist. There are many people who have seen it, but they're not sharing it. Right before Natalie was killed, there were like 8 or 9 people that were friends with me in real life that I dropped like a bad habit. Most of them were women. And the reason that they were dropped, not just the women, the men too, is because they were being ultra supportive of a rape society. That's right. I stopped being friends with some women because they were promoting a rape society, and that's definitely not okay. Rape is always wrong. It's not wrong to do it to a woman, it's wrong to do it to anyone. Whether you're a man, a woman, or a child, it is wrong to sexually assault you. Even if people want to selectively forget.